always wanted to be in the choir, so you guys can sit in the choir. I'm going to sit with you, so at least I'll get the feel for it. So, no, I said stay here. Yeah, gotcha. And we're keeping the kids in. Now, the nursery's open if it's needed. And but the kids wanted to be in on this, and they're going to be here again next week too, because we're going to get a report from the Caswell team, which is the youth that went to Caswell. But I'm very excited. Y'all, this group was outstanding. And we're missing some members. I know Jay's outstanding in his field. That's what Coach Carteret told me one time. He called me up. He said, "Matt, come here." So he said, "This is just such an outstanding young man." He said he's outstanding in his field. And he said, "Now get out there and stand out and get out of my way." And so that's my athletic ability. But anyway, it was impressive. I really, you guys would be extremely proud. And on behalf of all of us, I want to thank this church for your generosity. You made it not to be a financial hardship on anybody that went on this trip. It was not a financial hardship. I really believe that's safe to say for any of us. Thank you for your support. I was really excited about having some of the college students with us, and we're missing 3 of them. They couldn't be here today, and we all had this planned where they could all be here, and this happened and that happened, the other thing happened, and some of that's unavoidable. One of them had to work at the last minute, and one of them got called to a conference at the last minute, and one of them just couldn't make it today for, I don't know why, I didn't ask. But this is a good bunch, and they represented this church well. We went with the purpose of, one of my primary purposes was to get some students involved in it, because when we go to Medicine Bow every year, they're already back in school because they have that at the end of August. They do what they call the Carbon County Revival. So we checked with the Stocktons, who are the pastors in Medicine Bow, and they drive an hour and 15 minutes every Sunday morning because there's no jobs in Medicine Bow, hardly. And so they live in Casper, and they drive to Medicine Bow every Sunday for an afternoon service. They meet at 1 o'clock. And when the roads are open. In the wintertime, they can't get there part of the time because the roads are closed because there's so much snow there. But great bunch. We went to do a Bible school, and Kristen Britt was just indispensable in the Bible school. I stood back and watched these folks minister, and it was just such a blessing to this old pastor. I'm telling you, it was great to see the quality that happened. So, Kristen, I want you to be the first one to come up, and they don't know when I'm going to call on them. Come on. And I don't know what you want to share. I didn't script this, so I want every one of you to just share what it meant to you, what you did, and anything you want to share with us about missions.
Good morning. So when I was thinking about what I wanted to say, the word challenge kept coming to mind. So this trip had a lot of challenges for me. The first challenge is, y'all, I am soft. The Lord did not make me to rough it. And I promise you this was not roughing it, but I appreciate my bed. I appreciate my nice bathroom, air mattresses, and, church bathrooms. Just that was roughing it for me. I'm soft. I'm not even like fluffy soft. Like there's no firmness to me at all. I am squishy soft. So that challenged me, but I kind of directed and made the Bible school, and that was a challenge too. I spent many years as the director of Bible school, and it's easy to get on the internet, find a fun curriculum, and then it just all comes in a nice, pretty package. You just get your people, and everybody does everything, and that was not how this Bible school was. From years past, we have learned that these kids really don't have a foundation of Jesus and of church. And so, it's really hard to find a curriculum that starts from the very beginning. And so to have to kind of develop it myself really kind of challenged me. Our theme was Jesus Loves Me. Our Bible verse was John 3:16, which I'm sure every person in here could recite, but they couldn't. They didn't know it. But those challenges brought so many blessings. We had a young lady on the second day had memorized that Bible verse and stood up and said it in front of everybody by herself when you couldn't get 2 words out of her mouth any other time because she was just so quiet and so reserved. But she stood up and said that Bible verse. We talked about the woman at the well. We talked about Jesus feeding the 5,000. Our last day of Bible school was about Jesus' death and resurrection. I taught the preschool kids that we just had a group of little tiny kids, 2, 3, and 4-year-olds, and basically at that age you're really kind of babysitting and just kind of keeping it fun for them. But on that last day, we showed a video of Jesus' miracles, you know, him dying on the cross and came back to life. And actually, hold on one second. I wrote down what she said. I want to make sure I say it to y'all right. At the end of that video, 3 years old, little girl looked at me and she said, Jesus came back alive and they can't kill him anymore. At 3 years old, she gets it. Like she got the whole point of Bible school. And it was just a great blessing. The other thing that challenged me were these college kids. And not in bad ways. Like they challenged me to do more and do better. We had devotions every day, and our college kids led it. And again, if somebody would have said, Kristen, you're going to do a devotion, I'd have gotten on the internet, I'd have found the best little devotion, I'd have read it. That's not what they did. They developed their own. Like they got up there, they found their Bible verses, they found their topic, and they created their own devotion. They just have wonderful questions, a lot of insight. They are just a very good, mature group of kids who blessed me and challenged me in a lot of good ways. So that was my experience.
Highlight to you.
Just seeing the kids, like the kids in Medicine Bow and the things that they were learning and the eagerness to come. They were so eager and so ready. They're like sponges. Like they soaked up everything that and every bit of it, the music, the art, the crafts, the Bible story, the games, like they soaked it all up. And those were seeds planted. And that was the purpose. But that's just what has touched me the most, is seeing them so just excited and eager.
We had a ball. I mean, DeAndre, you guys got to talk about DeAndre. DeAndre was my buddy, and he's about this tall. And he's got as much energy as Henry does, and I'm not exaggerating. And so we had a time and love him, and just it was just wonderful. I mean, he was one of my highlights, chasing him around, and it was just a great week. And as I've shared repeatedly, I really wanted to see our students be able to come, and y'all, they shined. The ones that are not here shined. I'm telling you, it was. I mean, it was just amazing. So, come on, Smoke, talk. And obviously, you know that you're going to be next, Austin.
First of all, I want to thank the church. I personally have had the opportunity to go on many mission trips, and it was all because of you guys, every one of them, including all of our trips we've took to World Changers. But these trips, I enjoy them just about more than any other trip I'll ever take, because you'll see beautiful sights and you'll see beautiful things, but what's really beautiful is when you get a group of like-minded people who all love Jesus, all going to share the gospel together, and that camaraderie and fellowship is definitely the most beautiful thing about it. And we had a good time, and we had good devotions and good discussions about Jesus. We challenged each other on questions, and we all learned, and I personally, I can say I took away a lot from this trip. But so as far as my duty on this trip, I had a job change from day one. My original plan was to help Miss Kristen with the little ones, and then we had a 2-year-old child come in named DeAndre, and that's when my job changed. It was to, and Austin's as well. Me and him ran around the whole week just taking care of him, but he was probably the smartest 2-year-old I've ever met in my life as far as just, I don't know how to explain it really. He was just crazy. He was smart, but he was wide open, ran around all the time, and it was hard to keep up with him. But it's important. These trips are important, y'all. And Preacher talked about it earlier this morning. Our nation has a lot of healing to do, and no politician can save our nation right now. We have to return to the values that made this country what it was, and that those foundations are based in Jesus Christ and the Bible. And He is the only one that can save this nation, and we got to do our part to plant the seeds everywhere so He can save, because it is Him that saves. And again, I just want to thank y'all for the opportunity. I have a letter here from Erin, who also went on the trip. She was one of those who couldn't be here this Sunday, but she wants to say, hey everybody, I wanted to make sure I said thank you to everyone who helped make this trip happen, because it was truly incredible. This trip and group of people helped me strengthen my personal faith in Jesus. I believe God is doing tremendous things all over the world, and it was awesome to see what He's doing in Medicine Bow, and to be a part of that for a week. I got to help with the arts and crafts team for our vacation Bible school and help with the little ones, and we just had such a good time. In such a remote place, it felt really special to me to show the people there that they are part of a worldwide church. Most of all, I want to share that I believe seeds were planted in people's lives and prayers were answered in Wyoming. And I agree with everything she said there. She was pretty, she hit the nail head on. But those people there, they, like Miss Kristen said, they don't have a foundation like we have. If you're born here, you know somebody who goes to church, and you are taught the foundations and the basics of Jesus and what it means to be a Christian and a follower. Them out there, they don't get that. They don't know the basic stories, Jonah and the well. They don't know basic Bible stuff. So it's important for us to go out there and reach out and reach to those people. You might wonder why didn't we drive 30 minutes down the road? But those people out there are just as important as everybody here, and we're all important. And we got to make sure we spread the word, guys. But thank you, guys, because every time y'all have helped us, it strengthens my faith in this church. I believe in the people of this church about more than anything I've ever encountered. Y'all are all great people, and y'all always make sure the job gets done and what needs to get done gets done. He blindsided me in a snowball fight. Yep.
I whipped him.
He did. But I don't know, I probably got the better hit.
You definitely got the better hit.
I wish we had a slideshow to show that picture. There's a good picture of me mid-throw.
But wait.
Do we have
There's
it?
more.
Okay. All right. Y'all couldn't really tell in that video too. Look, that snow is not like any snow around here. That is very thick snow. I was bent over at times, so it felt like a rock. But yeah.
Well, it wasn't but about that big.
Yeah, dude, only that big.
And I threw it with everything I had, and y'all saw how much I had. It was, hold on now, Smoke, we're getting off this easy. I was so windy, because we were at 11,000 feet, and I was running around and, trying to breathe, and Smoke he counted. And actually, he really did win, but I did have the preemptive strike, because I just got that thing. It was amazing, y'all. This is the last of June, and there's a picture of me somewhere. You'll see it in the video, where I was standing with my hands up. It is praise the Lord. Anyway, snowbank was feet over my head. And it's just amazing. You know, I mean, we were in shorts and, well, they were, I was wrapped up. But, they were in shorts and the scenery was beautiful. We had about one play day and we went up on the Medicine Bow mountain range. Now, Medicine Bow's at 56, I think it is. 5,655, 56 feet. And so this is almost 11,000 feet. Y'all got to move to the microphone. So we were, I mean, it was amazing. So we went through, saw hot springs, we went to the hot springs, just did all kind of stuff.
On that mountain pass, there was one point where the ladies had to use the restroom, but they couldn't get to the restroom because snow had built up about this high, blocking the door. It's crazy. That's real snow. I've never seen real snow until then. That's real snow. Yeah. And I'd like to thank Miss Karen because every time there was something that we wanted to stop and see, you could count on her to make sure Mr. Corbett pulled over the video. He listened pretty well.
What impacted you the most? I mean, really, what grabbed you? What did you take out of this? And then I got another thing or two, and then I'm gonna call Corbett.
What impacted me the most was definitely the conversations that were had during that trip with this group. With the pastor of their church too, we all came together and we talked several times, many group little meetings. Even if it was on the spot, we'd say, "Hey, let's come in here and let's talk about Jesus." And
Ethan called one of those, which was very impactful. He said, "Let's just get together and talk about it." And he initiated that. I didn't initiate that. He did, and it was a great discussion that night.
That was a very good discussion. Yeah. We talked for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Mr. Corbett came up with a good idea of how to go about it, and we followed those guidelines. And we had very good discussion. And I want to encourage all of y'all to don't be scared going on these trips. If y'all are here, y'all have a purpose. These trips are good they're really good for the soul. And that's what I took the most out of it. Every time I go on these trips, I come home stronger in my faith than I did before. And Jesus takes a hold of me every time. But that's what I took out of it.
Now, Erin shared, and it was a great thing that she shared that you read to us. How do you feel? I mean, you're close to Erin. Have you talked to her about some impact? Anything about her response that you can share?
She I'm trying to pull up. Yeah, she was impacted because, like me, her faith grew stronger on this trip, and she actually had the duty of giving kids awards by draw, and I didn't know she could draw that well until that trip. Yeah, so she would create an award every day for a child, and she did a good job with that. But likewise, our faith grew stronger on this trip than when we first left.
Thank you. I got it. We good. I'm not preaching.
All right, so good morning. I would personally like to thank the church for allowing us to go. It's always a blessing to have a church that helps fundraise and give donations to help serve all of our mission trips and all of our different missions. I was with Ethan and Brandon at the beginning to do games, but Ethan got removed at the beginning, and then it was just me and Brandon. And I've never had anything to do with Bible school other than attending, so I've never taught, I've never done anything like that. So we had age ranges from 12-year-olds to like 4-year-olds. There's like one of each age, so it's kind of hard for two of us just to play games in a small little area with this wide range of people. And me and Brandon are very good at playing games. It's kind of what we do our whole life as we play growing up. But we were in the yard kicking like a little soccer ball or something, and like one of the 12-year-olds kicked it right into the face of one of the 5-year-olds. Day one, 10 minutes into us playing, and we had like 45 minutes left to go. And I turned around to Miss Christie, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, playtime's over. I don't know how to fix this. So we did something for a little while longer, and then we came back and did music again. But that was definitely very interesting. And then like day 2 and day 3, I helped Ethan with DeAndre to the point where he would have a bat and we would run from him, or we would try to keep him in the little area from not running towards the road or not playing with something dangerous. It's just very fun messing with him. And then I also want to read what Ashton said. Ashton and Aaron were together on the arts and crafts. But Ashton said, going on this mission trip was such a blessing. I went thinking I would be pouring out my love for Jesus to others, but I ended up getting poured into. Between seeing God's creations, teaching others about Christ, and fellowshipping with others on this trip, it really changed my heart and my perspective on many things for the better. I am beyond grateful to have been given the opportunity to go on this trip. And we kind of talked about it. I guess I'll go into your question. But we kind of talked about it both, how we get very comfortable with people we surround ourselves with. Like all of us from this rural community, we are very similar in any kind of aspect. And even whenever I'm at school in Raleigh, I do the same thing. I find people I have similar interests with. It's just human nature is how we are. But we go to the other side, of the country, and these people have nothing in common with us. Their lifestyles are completely different. They talk different. They act different. They will help you, but they don't want to help you unless you ask them for help. They deal with 10 foot of snow. We don't even know what snow is, but it's just completely different. But to go out there and to find similarities in the gospel and to grow connections and relationships with these people, they can teach you so many things that you would never thought you would have been able to learn. And same way, like how we impacted them, I feel like we all can attest that we saw our impact on the preacher and his family, and he was very grateful for us to be there. And meanwhile, he was teaching us so much more than that he could have known also at the same time. But yeah, I'm going to turn it over to some of the rest of them.
Now, the last student that was unable to be here, and these three guys went with us to Shoshone. So, I mean, this was not their first trip. But here's what Brandon said. And Brandon was very impactful. I mean, these guys did a great job, and the discussions that we had meant a ton to me. Some of the times we got together and the fun we had, and just for me to just sit back and see what was going on. Gotcha. And Brandon said I couldn't make it today, so Preacher Willard asked me to send a letter on my experience of the trip and what I took from it. First of all, I really enjoyed the Wyoming Mission trip. It was such a fun time, and I got a chance to make great relationships with everyone who went. The first day we drove through the mountains, which had breathtaking scenery and some animals I'd never seen before. Before Vacation Bible School, my eyes were opened to see how much I take for granted every day. People in this small town, both kids and adults, don't seem to have half of what we have and are happy and joyful as you could be. I think we had a lifelong impact on the people of the Medicine Bow community. We were able to tell them about Jesus, just show them love and that we care for them. It was very fulfilling for me to show love to those people, since we're called as Christians to share the love of Jesus, which is the hope that we have for true life here on earth and for life forever after death. Overall, it was a great trip, one that had eternal impact on people's souls. It was a mission for the kingdom, so I'm glad that I was able to go. So this is impactful. I wish that those students had been here to share with us what they were able to get out of it, because they are high quality individuals. I was just very impressed. I didn't know the girls nearly as well as I did the guys, but boy, that's just a good bunch. And I want to bring Karen, if you come on up and share. And guys, I'm telling you, we just got a good team. I didn't drive a lick. Of course, y'all know why. But Corbett and Jay drove, and there was a lot of driving. But share how it impacted you.
Well, first of all, thank y'all for the support, the prayers, the financial support. Without that, it would have been more of a challenge of a trip. It was a successful trip, and that our Bible school went off without a hitch. I feel like it was thoroughly enjoyed by the community, by the little kids. But overall, this mission was just as much for us as it was for them. Like you can already see, it impacted us. Try not to get emotional, okay? But my primary job was to teach the older kids. And they did have a little bit of a foundation, which was a good surprise to me, because I thought we were starting from scratch. But these kids already went to that church and had some foundation. So they did good, and they were genuinely interested in the lessons and participated and just engaged. So that was good. I found it very interesting that our group, you know how you got the body of Christ, somebody might be a foot, somebody might be a hand, somebody might be the ear. That's how this group played out, literally. Everybody's talent lined up with what we needed, and there was nothing lacking. So I thought that was a big takeaway for me. And just the overall fun. We laughed a lot, we cried a lot, and it was ugly cries sometimes. But we had an overall good time. So thank y'all. Shout out to Miss Sharon Keynes. She never fails. She always gives us words of wisdom, encouragement. Where's Miss Sharon? There she is. Always, she takes us faithfully, like every day. So thank you.
I'll try to be as brief as Karen was. I had a little bit more written down, so in about 30 minutes I'll let y'all go. But I do thank you also for the funds to be able to go. This was my first trip. I didn't know what to expect. I was a little nervous about going. I'd only been on a plane one other time, so it was a little nerve-wracking, you know, when you're in charge of some young adults as well. And so I'll give you a little different look than what they're giving you. So the first thing is we get here, and we've got 11 people, we got to go stuff in a van. We had Brooks driving us down there, so he got to encounter some of it, so we appreciate you taking us and picking us up. So in the van, you can fit, you know, a good number of people, but when you throw in everybody's luggage, it's like, what are you gonna do with that? So we,
Especially the women.
yeah, well, not to pick on Aaron, but you know, when you can only take 50 pounds in one bag and you got 49 and a half, you know, you couldn't bring anything back home, no souvenirs, you know, unless he needed to bring it. But, so we put everything in the back and put Brandon back there holding everything in the back corner. So we thank Brandon for holding everything up, not falling everywhere. So we get in Myrtle Beach and we're gonna leave out of there. And so first thing we encounter, Jay has his fake ID with him. So, you know, trying to get through customs. Really, he got a new North Carolina ID, and it's got so much security on it, it gave him trouble everywhere he went. So, and then of course, they were wondering about Jay, so they had to do a pat down on Ethan and Jay. First things, you know, our troublemakers.
Mine's because of my dad.
So of course we start out with some eventful things, and we get there and trying to get the rental cars, and of course you have trying to pick up everybody, but there's only one ways you can go, so we had to go out and come back around and trying to get everybody in the cars. I drove on an expedition, so I had young adults with us, and we were doing pretty good. We had all the luggage, because we couldn't fit it in the normal SUV, we had to put it in the back of the truck. So, of course, one of the things that we hear is, oh, we don't see a whole lot of rain in Colorado, you know. First thing we look on the radar and there's rain coming, and all of our luggage is in the back of the truck. So we had to go stop at Tractor Supply and get a tarp and tie it down. Well, of course, 5 or 6 stops later, after we're trying to keep tying it down because it kept blowing up and everything, and that was fun.
With only like 2 sprinkles of rain in the end.
Yes.
Anyway.
We did have the fun trip of going to go see Rossi on the way to Medicine Bow, so we enjoyed that little brief encounter that we had. A little unusual driving on a 2-lane road that you can run 70 miles an hour. That was the way most of it was. So when you're around here and you're doing your 55 and 45 and seeing everybody passing by you, you just imagine doing 70 with those people coming at you. So it was a little different for me. Most of our trips we planned on going to Walmart, because that was a 30-minute drive to get to the closest Walmart.
An hour.
Okay. An hour. I forget. I was driving.
He was driving 70. Yeah.
And sometimes a little faster than that. But so yeah, it was a long trip just to go get something to eat and get packed up for the rest of the week. You didn't know how much stuff to have for Bible school because you didn't know how many kids were going to show up. They put flyers out in the local town and surrounding towns, so you were hoping you'd get more kids, but we still had a decent number. We were happy enough we were be able to see some of the countryside while we were there, and that's what they were talking about, seeing the snow in the mountains. We did venture out one day and went to a dinosaur dig where they were actually digging up fossils, so that was pretty neat. We were able to bring some small pieces home too, so that was pretty cool. We saw a dinosaur house. The whole house was just made of dinosaur bones. I didn't realize that that's what it was, that they were just thinking it was stone. So later on, they figured out that that's what that was. During Bible school, my job was doing the laptop and doing the sound system. Terry was able to come up with the music, and I was the one that was back there playing it for him. And I enjoyed the devotions we had. Jay was the only elder adult that did devotion, and the college kids did the rest of it. And I was really surprised at how well the college kids knew the Bible, how they could come up with a devotion. I know Ashton pretty well, but not Aaron as much, and didn't know Brandon a whole lot, but to see them come up with stuff that would touch us and minister to us, being younger people, it was surprising to me. It did touch me. And I'd, let's see. One of the things that did touch me was some of the local people actually walked to Bible school. It was that close for some of them, but with the weather the way it was, a few times we ended up driving some home. There was a Mormon family that was there. It touched us, trying to understand how to witness to them, to encourage them to come back. They were there most of the week, so that was good. And the town was really a lot of drugs and really poor, run down, so it was kind of difficult to see that and trying to figure out how to relate to the people that were there and wanting to witness to them. One of the main things I got encouraged with was meeting new people, learning how to talk to new people in different areas. But I also was encouraged by learning our young people more and how they're growing, and you learn things that you didn't know about them. Eating habits, sleeping habits, who's early risers. I encourage you to fellowship with people more in this church. It's one thing just to come to Sunday morning service, Sunday night service, a little bit about, but when you go and sit down and eat with people, you go and hang out with them more, you learn a whole lot more about them, and you become more family. Anyway, that was
I won't comment a lot because we got a video to see, and it'll show you the pictures. It says a picture's worth 1,000 words, so it'll take care of most of mine. But I would say probably for me, my biggest takeaway was seeing the flexibility and the unity of this group, the different generations working together. I'll tell you how flexible these kids were, which of course we know that they have that tendency anyway, but one of the two girls were in the same room when they each had a blow up, and after the first night, one of them said she looked over and she was like, "Where'd she go?" Her blow up had deflated during the night, and she was down on the floor. So they were okay. We got her a different blow up for the next night, and they went. But everybody cooperated. Everybody was flexible. Everybody jumped in. If we did bring different talents in, but if we needed somebody to switch gears, they did it. We had some great cooks, we had some great drivers, we had everybody, like I said, jumped in. And so flexibility would be a word for me, and unity, the way everybody pulled together. And you could see God at work. We had a young lady who showed up on Sunday. She didn't come for the Bible school, but she showed up, who was playing them with witchcraft and stuff like that. And by the way, y'all pray for her, because from what I understand, she is missing right now. But I think we planted seeds. I think we planted seeds in her life and in the lives of the Mormon family and in the lives of these kids. But now we got a video that will, so you can see some of the things we saw, and I'll promise you these pictures don't do it justice.
There is a calling you've placed upon me. I felt it all my life. Step out with both feet, walk on the water, leave my past behind. I wanna follow your heart in the face of the unknown. I wanna trust who you are. When I let go, I'm halfway home. Into the wild, it's time to dream like a child again. Into the wild,
excuse me. Y'all saw the scripture, Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. Monday we were scheduled to leave out June the 24th. Friday before we called to go. On the 21st, June 21st, my dad passed away. So this is the first weekend that I've had a lot of experiences. My first time I flew, first time going out somewhere, first time going on a mission trip, first time without my dad. Excuse me. The first verse that I read after I found out he passed away was Joshua 1:9. And it let me know that wherever I go, the Lord God will be with me. He'll be with you wherever you go, anywhere you go, if you're going in His name. The Word says, I've commanded you. We're called. We're all called. As a Christian, we're called to share the faith. We're called to share the Word. Whether it's out west, whether it's just down the street, we're all called. Now, some people say, well, why did you go on the trip? I never felt that I shouldn't go. I cleared it with my family and stuff. I talked with them to make sure nobody would be mad. You know, and if they were mad, well, that's between them and the Lord. But I felt I was going. Well, the day we were getting ready to fly out, you know, you always have questions in the back of your head. Miss Sheridan sends out another verse, and guess which one it is? Joshua 1:9. So, I just want to thank this church for the sponsorship, for the financial sponsorship, for the love, for the giving. This group right here, I'm going to tell you what I saw. I saw the body of Christ at work, like Karen was talking about, different talents, different gifts coming together, doing different jobs. I was just driving, and I was just cooking. That was what I was there for, you know. So I got a chance to sit back, and I got a chance to see action. And let me tell you something. When the Lord moves, there's a lot of action going on. Okay? So let me just say, thank you. I love all y'all. Get out there. Share the word. You don't have to go out west to be on a mission trip. You can be on a mission trip at the high school, anywhere local. You don't have to go far. But share the word. Thank you.
See the 307 on the back of the shirt? That's the area code of Wyoming, the entire state. And it's a big state. But there's just not a lot of people. And so we elected to go where there just aren't very many people and have an impact. Now, Jay said he just drove. Jay was the chief cook and bottle washer, and he kept all of us going. He really did. Now, y'all need to get, if you don't know Jay Britt, you need to hang out with him. And but for him to make the decision to go with what he was facing at that moment, it is amazing. And I think the Lord confirmed in all of us that it was the Lord who directed you to go with us. And it's just a great trip. And I want y'all, and it ain't me, right, really, I just sat back and watched them minister. And I want us to give this bunch and the 3 that aren't here a hand for being willing to go. Now, it's impactful, so I really want to invite you, if you can go. Now, we're going to go 2 more years to Medicine Bow and Shoshone. We may, but our association has a 2-year commitment remaining to assist, and then there's always going to be missions. And what I deeply appreciate, and this was here before I got here. I've heard Bernard talk about mission trips. I've heard Ward talk about mission trips. I've heard the members of this church talk about mission trips, and it is impactful. And so if you can go, we're going to be going next summer. We'll probably plan a June trip. There'll be an August trip. There's several trips. The association's got them in Montana. We got them in, where are they going in? I think Brazil. I mean, there's stuff in New York City. That's a foreign mission field. And so, I mean, there's plenty of places you can go. It's not easy, but it will impact you. And that's basically what I want to share. We're going to do it differently in the wrap-up. Joe Edmond and Rossi Bullock are our deacons for the next next term. And so they'll be meeting, and the deacons will be meeting and selecting a new chair because our chairman had to rotate off. And what I want to do right now is just a quick order of business. You've got the nominations. You've got an updated list if you needed it. Hope that everything's right on there.